Hello, everybody. It's CJ Miller. I'm in my apartment in Shreveport, Louisiana, across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. And this is, this channel, this YouTube channel, it's all about really expressing my civic pride in my local community, inviting you to come check us out, the areas of Northwest Louisiana, all the areas surrounding Northwest Louisiana. What can we do to make you feel at home? I really want to express that. But also, this is a segment in my series called Paintings in Progress. Okay. The first thing I've done in this session is I've come in and I put some, I guess, with the Thalia Blue, Titanium White, and then the reds that I was working with basically are the three tones that I worked on it, and putting some color up in here and filling in some of the space. I felt bringing some clouds forward and bringing it around and letting it kind of be a little forward in front of where that black shadow was, that black atmosphere in the back, bringing some clouds forward. I felt that would add dimension, a sense of dimension. I think it does. I'm seeing that, and I'm proud for it. I've also gone in with some titanium white, and of course, there's the occasional smudge, and here's the finger to prove it. I have added some touches to this branch that I have to break up just that solid color of the burnt umber. I'm not finished with this branch. I feel like I'm gonna maybe kind of scale back on the detailing a little bit. One of the things, you know what I'll have to do, honestly, is I will have to come through with the ivory black, and I'll actually have to put a little bit of detailing and kind of tone down some of that brightness. And then this smudge right here won't even really matter that much. I think there's another little smudge right about here that I'm seeing. But there's no real mistake when you're working with painting. When something happens and you create a smudge like this is a good opportunity to demonstrate that between now and then the next paintings in progress. When you, hey, Ziggy, hang on one second. I really wasn't fond of that last song. Oh, this is a very old song. Well, most people would consider it by now to be old. You remember that song, remember? Like, yo, little brother, yo, 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 little brother, it didn't last very long. It had short run time on MTV, and then, yeah. Anyway, I'm loving this. What's going to happen is I'm going to work on creating the best picture that I can create with this. But occasionally, I like to leave a flaw. Like if I come across something that's like, oh gee, there's a how can I say, something that's almost a surreal touch that happens by accident. Like maybe you're painting a coffee cup, and there's something that could possibly never happen, and you're not paying attention. The way the light source would reflect off the coffee cup or something like that. Maybe you'll leave that mistake or whatever. One of my art teachers, one of my middle school art teachers, showed us a charcoal that she did, and it was a charcoal of something, an apple or something like that, I don't know. Then she kind of like left it basically as an example, but what happened was they had she was charcoaling or whatever it is, this orb or this apple or whatever, and she was late working on it. And so what she did was she was working at night in dim light, and she had like this little light source on the side of the orb, whereas the rest of what she had been done Rest of what she had done earlier in the day where there was a brighter overhead light source and she was working from there. And then all of a sudden, her light source changed, and it was like something that probably wouldn't happen at the same time in real life, you know? Like the overhead light source would be so bright that you really wouldn't see the light source coming on the side of this, apple. But it was a charcoal sketching of an apple or something like that. And I think it was an apple that she was working with. Anyway, and so because of that, and then she brought it to school, not paying attention to her class or whatever, and they had a good laugh about it in the class. It was like really, really great work, but there's a inconsistency and whatever. And so she just at this point she was like, throughout the years she just never corrected it. She saved it and she would bring it to the class every year, and she would tell us about it and just a humor about it. And it's like just one of those things when you work in the same way that I do in different sessions. Like I work at different times of the day under different light sources, and I had to be aware of that as things change, knowing that when this is in a dimmer room, these vibrant colors are going to look more closely related to each other on the color wheel. And also something that's going to happen is seeing this. Now this looks pretty vibrant. Looking at something with the naked eye is different than looking at an art of work. A work of art, I should say, an art of work. Looking at whatever. There could be an art to your work, whatever. But looking at some sort of work of art with the naked eye is very different than seeing it projected by a photograph, which is light. It's made by light versus actual, it's electric light. It's essentially like looking at it on a light bulb. So its definition is heightened to a higher definition. The only way you could go through and you could lower your definition or whatever. Still, it's not the exact same as looking at something through the naked eye. But what I really try to do is I try to keep the detail as close as I possibly can as I'm working. Like my phone is brighter. What I'm seeing on my phone is actually brighter than the work of art. It's actually, the work of art's a little bit darker and murkier. There's no real way to get 100% realism in transferring something to a video like this to it's probably why people just thought Bob Ross back in the day was just the ultimate of a painter. Well, he was good. But and he worked with acrylic, and I think he sold a lot of acrylic and made a lot of acrylic with what he did. He created some very translucent stuff, some mixtures of paints and everything that he sold in his kit. But aside from that, I mean, he kind of popularized the art of painting with acrylic paint versus oil, and he did the art of wet on wet wet, which is what this technique is. This is a wet on wet on dry. I'll do something, and then I'll have to let the idea cool, and then by that time it dries, and so I'll have to come back and do some more. But so when I want these to look a little wispy and like clouds and everything, but I don't want them to be overworked. I don't want them to take over the rest of the painting. And clouds, very easy to do that. These probably should have been just a little bit smaller, but I wanted them to pop. I wanted them to come into the forward atmosphere a little bit and leave some of that greenish, grayish stuff in the back, I wanted things to pop, and I think this is cool. Okay, well, from now, I'm going to say love and light, God bless, and check back in to the next time and see what happens to this painting. Good night.